All right, that does it for Fantasy Forecast. Let's take a few minutes. Let's get into the daily fantasy sports and discuss some of the guys that our good friend Chris Meany likes for this upcoming week, number 14.
The Daily Dose.
After a little bit of a hiatus from our favorite part of the show, because he is an adorable man, Chris Meany from the Fantasy Sports Network is back to drop some daily fantasy knowledge with us and the Foot Clan. How are you doing, Chris?
You guys are so sweet to me. I missed you guys.
How was your non-Thanksgiving break? Because up there in Canada, you guys don't get the sweetness that is...
They don't celebrate Thanksgiving?
Not like America does.
No, not like America at all. Ours is in October, but we love it just because there's so much football. So we're just like, yeah, football all the time.
Special
last
football
week
day.
was okay to me. What's that?
Special football day.
Yeah, it's just the football, right? For us, we're just like, we love the American Thanksgiving for plenty of reasons, I suppose. But football, obviously, the big one. You get the 3 games, which is plus. I did okay last week. I had not James White, but Brandon Bolden, and I still did okay. So it's tough to pick which New England running back is going to be the guy, but I actually think it's James White, but I could be wrong.
So let's start at the top then before we get into the specials like James White. The quarterback position, who are you paying up for, or is there a lower tier guy you like this week?
I think it's, again, pretty safe with Cam. My favorite quarterback is Big Ben Roethlisberger. I just love that offense so much. The Steelers are it just seems like every single week they put up about 30 points. I know last week somebody won $1 million with Ben, Bryant, Brown, D'Angelo Williams, and Steelers D. That's actually unheard of. I've never seen anything like that before. I wouldn't expect that to happen again, but I want to pay up for Cam Newton. He's just so consistent, averaging 24 FanDuel points a game. That's tops. I mean, Brady's averaging 24.8. I'm not willing to pay for him. I just don't like the offense as much with some of the guys that are dropping balls, and he's missing, obviously, Gronk and Edelman. So I'm willing to pay for Big Ben. On the other side of that, if you want to go Andy Dalton, I can respect that as well. I do think this time around is going to be high scoring. Last time it wasn't, but these two teams have played some high scoring games before in the past. They've also played some tight games as well. So it's a little unpredictable, I suppose, but I'm still willing to pay for Big Ben. A lot of people like Tyrod Taylor in a terrific matchup, and I understand that as well if you want to go him and Sammy. But those are the two quarterbacks. Certainly, they're just so safe, Cam and Big Ben. Last week in a huge tournament, I rolled out Blaine Gabbert. It worked out late. Again, these type of players, the Blaine Gabberts, the Alex Smiths, they have okay matchups. They're just a little bit inconsistent. I'm okay with rolling them out in tournaments. But again, for cash, for 50-50s, for safe guys, I just really like Ben. And also, I suppose I could give a shout out to Jameis Winston. Everyone always wants to pick on that secondary for the Saints. So Winston, I mean, now he's got Austin Seferian-Jenkins back. Only played 21 snaps last week, but still second in the team in targets with 6. So I like the receiving core there as well, and I even like Doug Martin. But those are the quarterbacks that I'm really looking at to pay up for.
All right, let's talk running backs who are must-have guys in your lineup.
I think it would just be silly not to have LaShawn McCoy in a revenge spot. And you know what? I believe only over the past 4 weeks, only Stewart and Martin have more carries than LaShawn McCoy. This is obviously a game that he really, really wants. He's been vocal all year about how displeased he was for being traded. Chip Kelly this, Chip Kelly that. It's been a lot of talk this week. It's been a lot of talk all year. The Eagles struggle against running backs. I expect LaShawn McCoy actually to have a really good day. Even though they're only giving up 5 rushing touchdowns, they're still like top 10 in rushing yards against. So I like LaShawn McCoy. I like Doug Martin. But again, some of these backs that you can if you get them, you can afford higher-end wide receivers and quarterbacks. There's a few of them. I like T.J. Yeldon. Finally, this guy got in the end zone last week against, he finally got a touchdown against Tennessee. This week he gets the Colts. He's just been consistent all year. I mean, you look at 4 receptions last week. Before that, 4, 3, 5, 3. So he's getting the catches. He's getting about 50 to 70 yards here and there. So if he can just find the end zone again, I think he can return value at 6'4". Sean Drone is another guy.
The big salad. That's what we call him here, the big salad. You please spread that around Canada.
Nice. Yeah, he's just consistent. I mean, he's getting catches, right? I mean, he's not blowing anybody away on the ground with his rushing yards. I mean, 36, 51, 37, 58 in the past couple. But again, 5 catches, 8 catches, 4 catches. So he's a guy that I know Pat and I like a lot. Sean Drone is just there he is. Yeah, have you heard that? He's a consistent guy. He's getting catches. I mean, Blaine Gabbert is just dumping off to him. So if he's going to get 5 or 6 catches every game, chip in for 50 yards, if he can just find the end zone again, then there you go. At $6,500, you're laughing.
Are you going to take a gamble on Eddie Lacy? We know he was benched for being out past his curfew, his grown man curfew. But the talk is that may have been rectified to him regaining his position as the top back. Are you gonna risk him in a cash game this week?
No, I can't play him. Guys like Eddie Lacy, DeMarco Murray, you just can't play them in cash games. They're just way too inconsistent. I get it. Mike McCarthy says Eddie Lacy looks rejuvenated. He expects a good week of practice. He expects him to be productive this weekend. But can you really trust that? It's really hard to trust. But in a big tournament play, sure, why not? You can roll him out in a huge tourney. But in a cash, in a 50-50 head-to-heads, there's no way I'm trusting Eddie Lacy.
All right, let's talk some wide receivers. The guys that you're paying up for. Are you buying Antonio Brown? You like Big Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lineup with Ben, Bryant, and Brown. I love Brown. How could you not like Brown? I mean, this guy is just so consistent, especially with Big Ben as his quarterback. He's had big games against the Bengals this year. He had a touchdown. Last year, he had 2 100-yard games against them, double-digit targets in both of them, so he gets a lot of play. I'm in on Ben. I'm down on Julio Jones. Doesn't have a great matchup this week. He's kind of been really mediocre over the past few. So if you can't really get Beckham and Brown, in one lineup I want Brown, and in another one I want Beckham. It's really hard to go both of them. But I also, and I failed to mention, I do like the Russell Wilson, maybe Baldwin stack. I know they've been hot lately. Maybe people will be on that, but it's another nice matchup. Baltimore gives up fantasy points top 10 to quarterbacks, top 5 to wide receivers. So I like both of those guys as well.
What Seattle D Lockett.
And Seattle D. Pat loves Seattle D. Lock it in, of course, right?
With Lockett.
Oh, with Lockett.
Oh,
okay.
We set the pick 6 at over/under at 1.5 for Seattle. What are you guys taking?
Yeah, over/under pick 6 for 1.5 for Seattle, Pat. Over. He's over without hesitation. Yeah,
I
sure.
went over too. So a guy that we like, he was a first-round wide receiver pick. He's finally getting his chance. Devante Parker. Are you doing anything with lineups for Devante Parker?
Absolutely. I like Parker a lot. He was. I played him in a couple contests last week. He's only 5'9" against the Giants. For sure. I mean, he didn't get as many targets as I wanted him to get last week. But again, 7 catches in the past 2 weeks, 80 yards and a touchdown the one, 63 and a touchdown the other one, and a terrific grab in the end zone too. This guy's a really, really talented player. And I remember listening to you guys earlier in the year talk about how he could be last year's Odell Beckham Jr., a guy who suffered an injury, missed the first few weeks, takes a little bit of time to learn the playbook, get in there, get a feel. So, I mean, I like him a lot at that price point for sure.
And let's wrap it up with some tight ends. What are you doing to fill that void now that the man Rob Gronkowski is out? He's very unlikely to return this week. What are you doing there?
Yeah, the tight end position, I mean, again, it's safe with Greg Olsen. He's always really safe. You're going to pay up for him 6'6". I do like Travis Kelce. I just think San Diego is just not a great secondary. On the flip side of that, I still like Macklin. People are not giving Macklin enough love because of Verrett, but I mean, Macklin's been really good the past 2 weeks. Another guy. Scott Chandler's another guy I'm going to go to, $5,800. Why not? He's still got a lot of looks with Brady. I do like Austin Safarian-Jenkins, and maybe just kind of under the radar guy, and it's interesting because we'll see what some FanDuel. If you check out the FanDuel show, we talk about some ownership numbers on Friday. So check that out on our YouTube page. But I like Ty. I like this Ty guy from the Giants.
The Ty fighter.
I mean, why not? He's getting a lot of looks. Over the past 3 weeks, this guy's got 14 catches, 70 yards, 74, 56, close to 20 targets over the last 3 weeks. The only thing is he hasn't been able to find the end zone. So I'm going to go Ty.
All right, just a quick question to wrap it up. Would you go Ty or would you go Wilson in Seattle?
Oh, Luke, Canadian boy.
Wilson.
Is that a Canadian question for me?
Yeah, just an especial for our friends of the North.
Yes. I think I would go Ty. I really do. I think there's this more safe. Luke, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. You get the
He's got a lot of L's in his name, though.
Yeah,
He's got a ton of L's in his name.
Can you explain the double L's to us? We do not understand it.
Yes, I know the double L Wilson.
You Canadians.
I would go Ty in that situation for sure. But I do like Russell Wilson. He's been really hot lately. In the last 3 games, 11 touchdowns, just shy of 1,000 yards, no interceptions, 100 on the ground, a rushing touchdown. So if you do want to go a Seattle stack, it could be a contrarian play for sure if you plug in double L Wilson.
All right, so a big thank you to Chris Meany from the Fantasy Sports Network.
I was just going to say, we got Nando lined up for next week, so he better bring it.
Nice. And he's pumped. He told me, I was there with him last week. We were watching some football. He said he's going to go on the Fantasy Footballers, and he couldn't be more happy.
And then we got to get Pat back on, too. So tell Pat that he's to be expecting a phone call. We're just going to invite your entire channel onto our show and have a big party.
Well, we love you on the channel. Pat, they said expect a phone call in the future. They want you on.
Me? No, you don't want any part of me.
All right, so big shout-out, Chris Meany. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next week, man.
No problem, guys. Everybody, good luck fantasy football playoff time, and good luck with your picks this weekend. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks again to Chris Meany for joining us on the show, talking some DFS. We missed him, and I'm glad he's back.
There was a hole
I'll
in
be
my
honest
heart.
with you.
It's back. It's full.
Pat. And
All right.